Iran out of the World Cup, Israel and the U.S. tagged the country.
Is the Iranian team coming?
The Iranian team is coming for sure.
Decent, yeah, they're in it. We saw them in the World Cup, then we get bashed England.
So here's where we are. In about 6 weeks, the biggest sporting event on the planet kicks off across 3 countries. The FIFA World Cup. 48 teams, 104 matches, 5 to 10 million visitors expected. And one of those teams, Iran, is being told by the President of the United States that, quote, "I don't believe it is appropriate that they be there for their own life and safety." That's the same president whose government, 8 weeks earlier, dropped bombs on Iran's supreme leader. The same president whose administration just paused immigrant visas for 75 countries. And the same president who is being protected by FIFA, an organization that handed him a peace prize 4 months before he started a war. Welcome to the most politically compromised World Cup of our lifetime, and almost nobody's connecting the dots. In the next 18 minutes, we're going to walk through how FIFA refused to move Iran's matches out of an active war zone host country, why 4 nations whose teams qualified can't bring their own fans, and the moment you're about to realize you're watching a slow-motion catastrophe, and the part where a Trump envoy asked FIFA to replace Iran with Italy, that comes later. Stick around. December 5th, 2025. The Kennedy Center in Washington, D.C. Gianni Infantino, the president of FIFA, walks on stage and hands Donald Trump something called the FIFA Peace Prize. This is a real award. FIFA invented it earlier that same year. According to FIFA, it goes to people who have, quote, helped to unite people all over the world in peace. The first recipient was Donald Trump. Now look, I'm not the morality police, but less than 4 months after Trump received the FIFA Peace Prize, the United States and Israel launched coordinated airstrikes on Iran. According to Al Jazeera reporting on April 23rd, the war has now killed nearly 2,000 people and displaced many more. So that's our starting point. The same FIFA that gave Trump a peace prize is now telling Iran's national team that they have to fly into Los Angeles and play 3 matches in the country whose government just killed their supreme leader. And FIFA is presenting this as a logistics problem. It's not a logistics problem, it's a values problem. And it's about to get worse. But to understand how bad this gets, you need to know about the 3 travel orders almost nobody is talking about. So in June 2025, 6 months before the World Cup draw, the Trump administration issued a sweeping travel ban affecting 12 countries. 4 of those countries qualified for the World Cup: Iran, Haiti, Côte d'Ivoire, Senegal. According to the American Immigration Council, fans from those nations are barred from attending any World Cup match in the United States, unless they got their visa before the ban kicked in or qualify for a tiny exception. So if you're a Senegalese guy who saved for 4 years to watch your team play in Atlanta, tough luck. Your team is going, you're not. January 21st, 2026. The State Department announces it's pausing immigrant visa processing for 75 countries. The official rationale, according to the State Department's own announcement, is that these are countries whose migrants, quote, take welfare from the American people at unacceptable rates. The list, which the State Department published publicly, includes Iran, Iraq, Egypt, Brazil, Russia, Somalia, Haiti, and 68 others. Now, important caveat. This pause is for immigrant visas, not tourist visas. So technically, World Cup fans on tourist visas aren't directly affected. But here's what is affected: the entire mood music, the diplomatic atmosphere, the signal to the world. April 2nd, 2026. The Trump administration expands the visa bond program. 50 countries are now required to post a bond of up to $15,000 before their citizens can enter the United States. 5 of those countries have teams in the World Cup: Algeria, Cabo Verde, Côte d'Ivoire, Senegal, Tunisia. So let me lay this out. If you're a fan from one of those countries, your government just qualified for the biggest sporting event on earth. You want to fly to the US to watch 1 match, you'll need to post 15 grand. Refundable in theory when you leave, as long as everything goes well at the border. 3 orders, different mechanics, same effect. The global tournament has become a heavily filtered tournament, and that's before the war started. On February 28th, 2026, everything got significantly more dangerous, and FIFA's response was, frankly, embarrassing. February 28, 2026. The United States and Israel launch coordinated strikes against Iran. According to Al Jazeera, the first day of the war killed Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei and 168 other people, including children at a girls' school. Iran retaliated with strikes on US and Israeli military bases. The conflict sucked in Lebanon. Hezbollah opened fire from the north. The Strait of Hormuz was blockaded, then the US counter-blockaded. By April 8th, Pakistan brokered a fragile ceasefire. According to the British House of Commons Library, talks are ongoing, mediated by Pakistan, but the US naval blockade of Iran is still in place. The USS George H.W. Bush carrier group has just arrived in the Middle East. So when I say Iran is being asked to fly into an active war zone host country, I'm being literal. The ceasefire is conditional. It's been violated by both sides. Israel has continued striking Lebanon. Iran has continued blockading the strait. And the country running the war is the country running half the World Cup matches. That's the situation Iran's team is being told to walk into. So Iran did the obvious thing. They asked to play somewhere else. FIFA's response was one word, and that word was no. Right after the war started, Iran's football federation, the FFIRI, formally asked FIFA to relocate Iran's 3 group stage matches out of the United States and into Mexico. Mexico, by the way, was open to it. President Claudia Sheinbaum publicly said her country would willingly host the games. So the host country says yes. The Iranian Federation says yes. Iran's sports minister, Ahmad Donyamali, said the team's participation depends on it. And FIFA said no. According to Mexican President Sheinbaum's confirmation in April 2026, quote, FIFA ultimately decided that the matches cannot be moved from their original venues. FIFA's reasoning, according to Bloomberg, was that relocation would create logistical challenges so close to the tournament. Logistical challenges. This is the same FIFA that when Qatar hosted the 2022 World Cup, rebuilt 7 stadiums from scratch. The same FIFA that scheduled matches across 3 countries, 4 time zones and 16 cities for this tournament. The same FIFA that just rebranded Estadio Azteca as Banorte Stadium because of a sponsorship deal. But moving 3 games to a country that was actively asking to host them? That apparently was the bridge too far. So here's where Iran's team stands. Their request denied. Their leader killed. Their group games scheduled for Los Angeles and Seattle. Then Trump posted on Truth Social. What Trump said next made things significantly worse, and he said it twice on the same day, March 12th, 2026. Trump posts on Truth Social, quote, "The Iran national soccer team is welcome to the World Cup, but I really don't believe it is appropriate that they be there for their own life and safety. Thank you for your attention to this matter. President Donald J. Trump." Read that again because I want you to sit with it. The president of the host country of the World Cup is publicly saying he can't guarantee the safety of a participating team's players. Iran's Federation President Mehdi Taj responded with a sentence that, frankly, should have ended Infantino's career. Quote, "When Trump has explicitly stated that he cannot ensure the security of the Iranian national team, we will certainly not travel to America." Then, hours later on the same day, Trump posted again. This time he said the World Cup will be, quote, "the greatest and safest sporting event in American history. All players, officials and fans will be treated like the stars that they are." Post 1, "It's not safe for Iran." Post 2, "It's the safest event in history." Same Truth Social account, same afternoon. And then when Trump was asked by Politico about Iran's participation, his answer was, quote, "I really don't care. This is the security framework. This is what FIFA is asking the Iranian players to fly into." 3 contradictory statements in 24 hours from a president whose government just killed their supreme leader. And then a Trump envoy walked into FIFA headquarters and tried to swap Iran out for Italy. I'm not making this up. Meet Paolo Zampoli, Italian-American businessman, former modeling agent, currently a Trump envoy for global partnerships. If that name sounds familiar, it's because Zampoli is reportedly the guy who introduced Donald Trump to Melania. In April 2026, the Financial Times broke a story that Zampoli had personally asked both Trump and FIFA President Infantino to replace Iran with Italy. His justification, in his own words to the FT, "I'm an Italian native and it would be a dream to see the Azzurri at a US-hosted tournament. With 4 titles, they have the pedigree to justify inclusion. Italy didn't qualify. They missed out for the 3rd straight World Cup. They lost on the pitch. And a Trump envoy with no official soccer role just asked the President of the United States and the President of FIFA to insert Italy in place of a team that did qualify. To Italy's credit, they immediately rejected this. Italian Sports Minister Andrea Abodi said, quote, "It is not appropriate. you qualify on the pitch. Economy Minister Giancarlo Giorgetti called the suggestion shameful. Even Italy's own football coach Gianni De Biasi told Reuters, Italy doesn't need Trump's support on an issue like this. So here's where we are. A Trump envoy tried to politically engineer a team substitution. The proposed beneficiary publicly told him to get lost. And FIFA's only response was Infantino saying Iran for sure will play. Not we reject the political pressure. Just they'll be there. Hopefully. Meanwhile, in Los Angeles, the people who would have to make this World Cup happen are threatening to walk off the job. Yes, really. Iran's first match is June 15th in Los Angeles. Their second match is also in LA, June 21st, both at SoFi Stadium. The 2,000 workers who run SoFi Stadium have a problem with that. Unite here. Local 11, the union representing those workers, has filed a formal complaint with the National Labor Relations Board. They are demanding that ICE, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, be barred from entering SoFi Stadium during the World Cup. They're also threatening to strike, which would put 8 World Cup matches at risk, including the US men's team's opening game. Why? Because ICE Acting Director Todd Lyons publicly said in February that the agency would play, quote, a key part in security at the World Cup. Add this on top. At least 6 of the 11 US host cities are sanctuary jurisdictions. DHS Secretary Mark Wayne Mullen has publicly said customs officials could stop processing international travelers at airports in those sanctuary cities. So picture this. You're an Egyptian fan. You bought a $1,200 ticket to Iran, Egypt in Seattle. You fly into SeaTac, Sanctuary City. You don't know if you're going to be processed, profiled, or pulled aside. Customs and Border Protection ran 55,000 traveler phone searches in fiscal 2025 alone. This is the welcome mat FIFA agreed to. And then 120 of the world's most respected human rights organizations did something they've never done before. April 23, 2026. The American Civil Liberties Union, Amnesty International, and 120 other civil society groups jointly issue a travel advisory for foreigners attending the 2026 FIFA World Cup. This is what their statement actually says. Their warning of, quote, deteriorating human rights situation in the United States, and the absence of meaningful action and concrete guarantees from FIFA, host cities, or the US government. In the same statement, they pointed to violent and unconstitutional immigration enforcement, including racial profiling and other discrimination by law enforcement. A travel advisory for the country hosting most of the World Cup, from the ACLU, 6 weeks before kickoff. For context, the ACLU does not casually issue international travel advisories. The closest historical comparison is when human rights groups warned travelers about Russia 2018 and Qatar 2022. Both of those tournaments became permanent stains on FIFA's reputation. Now we're getting the same warning about America. According to the Council on Foreign Relations, even the heads of 20 European soccer federations have called for some form of boycott. They haven't gotten it. But the calls are real, and they're coming from people who don't usually talk like this. The White House response, by the way, they called the travel advisory scare tactics. So what actually happens on June 15th? Let me walk you through the most realistic disaster scenario. June 15th, 2026, Los Angeles, SoFi Stadium, Iran versus New Zealand. Iran's players land at LAX. Per Secretary of State Marco Rubio's April 24th statement, the players themselves can enter, but Rubio also said this: they can't bring a bunch of IRGC terrorists into our country and pretend that they are journalists and athletic trainers. So the players can come. Their support staff might not. Iran's Football Federation has already boycotted the World Cup draw in December 2025 over visa issues for officials. Meanwhile, outside the stadium, you might have Unite Here workers on strike. You'll have ICE agents the union is fighting to keep out. You'll have anti-war protesters. You'll have pro-Iran demonstrators. You'll have counter-protesters. You'll have 10,000 fans trying to get inside. And inside the stadium, you'll have 11 Iranian players standing on the halfway line for their national anthem, in the country whose government killed their head of state 7 months earlier. Their fans, the ones who would normally fill that section, are mostly stuck at home because of the travel ban. This is what FIFA approved. This is what they refuse to move. And the worst part? FIFA is going to make money no matter what happens. Let's talk about who actually pays. Here's the part that makes me genuinely angry, and I want you to feel it too. FIFA generated over $7 billion in revenue from the 2022 Qatar cycle. The 2026 cycle, with 48 teams and 104 matches, is projected to be even bigger. According to the Council on Foreign Relations, the US alone is expected to host more than 3/4 of the matches and capture the majority of the commercial windfall. So when FIFA tells Iran, no, we can't move 3 matches to Mexico because logistics, what they're really saying is, we don't want to disturb the cash machine. Here's the receipt. Mexico offered to host. The Mexican president said yes. Iran's federation said yes. The only no came from the organisation that profits from the schedule staying exactly where it is. And when this World Cup goes badly, and there are real credible reasons to think parts of it will, the cost won't be paid by FIFA. It'll be paid by the Iranian players who didn't ask for any of this, by the SoFi workers who are about to lose their jobs in a strike, by the Senegalese fans staring at empty seats from their living rooms in Dakar, by the families separated by the visa pause, by the journalists with their phones searched at the border. FIFA's job, supposedly, is to unite the world through football. That's their stated mission. That's the inscription on the side of the Peace Prize they handed Trump. What they actually did in 2026 was unite the world through compliance. So here's what I want you to take away. The 2026 World Cup is going to be remembered. The question is, what for? Will it be the tournament where soccer transcended politics, like FIFA loves to claim? Or will it be the one where FIFA refused to move 3 games out of an active war zone host country, and 120 human rights organizations had to issue a travel advisory for the host nation? I think we both already know the answer. I just don't think most people are paying attention yet. If this video helped you connect dots that the mainstream sports coverage isn't connecting, do me one favor, subscribe. We're going to track this thing all the way through July 19th, when the final is played at MetLife Stadium. The full picture is going to keep getting worse, and I want you here when it does. I'll see you in the next one.